Well, Broncos Country, what is poppin'? It is your boy Mark here, man, with Marky Sports. Hope you guys had a really wonderful weekend and the Broncos had wrapped up their rookie minicamp. It's honestly one of my favorite times of the year. I love to hear the reports and see what's going on with all of, the next generation of Broncos rookies, and not just our draft picks, but the undrafted free agent guys, some of the rookie workout guys. I think it's such an important part of the offseason. So we're going to break down my thoughts. We're going to talk about everything that we've gathered information-wise from local media. So subscribe to the channel, guys, if you like what you see, and check some of the other videos out. I talk all things Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Denver sports. We try to cover it all here, man. So we try to have a really good time in this community. So, without further ado, man, let's get into it. So just some quick takeaways before we get into each individual player. Sean Payton, man, he looked like he was just glowing. He was so happy. You could tell he loves the rookie minicamp, man. Whether he's impressed with the team or whatever. I think it's very early on to say like, oh, I think we got an absolute Pro Bowler right off of the bat. Obviously, they did a lot of work on many of these guys before rookie minicamp, but he seems like he really loves this time of the year. Developing these players, initiating their culture, and talking about really everything that the Broncos are going to be about, and seeing what they got in a lot of these guys. And so he was glowing. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out on the Broncos websites, on my Twitter feed, at Marky Sports Denver. You guys will see it all. He was just fired up. And that's always really fun to see. And I think these rookie mini camps, man, are really important. Obviously this is the first stage. So there's not like there's going to be a lot of decisions that are made off of what's happening right now. But he had one thing that I thought was really interesting is Sean Payton had talked about how you just want to make sure you do not let where these guys were drafted or, where they come from to have any kind of an impact on the decisions that you ultimately make once you got to make roster decisions. And he talked about Pierre Thomas. Pierre Thomas was the undrafted free agent that they had brought in 2007 after drafting a running back in the 4th round. And Pierre Thomas just kept popping. He just kept looking good. Everybody saw it. Everybody kind of knew it. So what they did is they released and they moved on from the 4th round pick. They kept Pierre Thomas as the undrafted guy, and he ends up having a really big impact for them a couple of years later and really throughout his career with the Saints. Pierre Thomas is a really good player, ultimately leading to them winning a Super Bowl. So it's those little mini decisions that I think go a long way when it comes to this team and where they're going to be at. So are we going to know what the impact of these decisions are right away? No, but we can certainly project, and that's what I love. So let's get into Jahdae Barron first and foremost, man. Everything that you heard is that he's got great size, great work ethic in terms of his size and kind of what he brings. Very savvy, very versatile, really matches everything that they had seen on tape. And so you can tell he's just a very mature kid. And one thing that I love that really stood out to me is he has some really great battles with Pat Bryant. Obviously, you love to see the competition. He had a route apparently that a lot of people were talking about where he had perfect coverage against Pat Bryant, but Pat Bryant was still able to go up and make the catch. So that's kind of a win-win for the Denver Broncos as a whole, right? Jahdae Barron was there. He did his job, and Pat Bryant ultimately ended up coming down with that. So you love to see it. But Sean Payton talked about him being very savvy, very versatile, right? Understands coverages. He's a very smart, heady player, someone that can play zone, that can play man, that can play in the slot or in the nickel, can play as an X corner as well. And that's what I think I'm the most excited about with seeing with Jahdae Barron is where is he going to end up playing and being the biggest impact for this team. Obviously, we know what we've seen on tape, but he looked good. And Sean Payton had talked about, he kind of has this ability to remove about 80% of the field, just given how he plays a lot of receivers, right? Taking away a lot of the main routes that he sees them, removing, certain options for the wide receivers right off of the bat, just given how he plays different routes and all of that. So that's something that they had seen on tape. They said it matches the tape a lot, and you love to see that translate over to, to the practice field so far in the couple of days that we had in rookie minicamp. I would say the star of rookie minicamp so far, and maybe this is because this is our biggest need as a team, so it's being kind of inflated and bloated, but apparently RJ Harvey looked unbelievable in every way. He's got incredible size. They call him like Quadzilla. They're talking about, his quads are are the things making all of the headlines so far in rookie minicamp. But RJ Harvey looked very, very impressive, man. Him and Sean Payton, they had watched a lot of tape of Sproles and Kamara together. He had talked about he doesn't want to just be like them. He wants to be better. Worked them out a lot as a pass catcher. Apparently he looked really good, caught the ball very well. And, Sean Payton did say, he is a running back that's going to be playing on third downs. And early in his career, it's his responsibility to not give him, matchups against guys like Navarro Bowman right off of the bat, where he has to cleanly pass protect there. But they feel like he's got a lot of ability to develop as a really good pass protector and also beat teams out of the backfield. He ran a lot of wheel routes in college, but they kind of worked him out and saw different routes that he can run. He's going to continue to work on it, but very mature kid. Somebody that you can tell is just built from the right cloth. In fact, I kind of noticed that trend with all of the rookie class that was interviewed and talked to the media, which was all the draft picks. They all just seem like they're all about ball. They have great work ethics. They're very mature. They're all about the team. And I love to see it with RJ Harvey, but this dude is even bigger than you would anticipate, coming out of college. I know he was kind of viewed as a small back, somebody that's a little bit more of a scat back. He is not built like that. He's built like a 3-down, big time running back. But, by all accounts, he looked explosive. Everybody was saying he was, he had sweet feet. He was nimble. So obviously this is without pads. It's super early on, but positive reports at this point is always a good thing. And the negative ones are ones you want to avoid. And there wasn't anything negative that I had seen about RJ Harvey based off of all of the guys that were there. And really special shout out to Cecil and Mace, man. I love their content, especially when it comes to, the rookie mini camps and, these kinds of things, because they're very diligent in terms of the work that they do. And they were raving about RJ Harvey as well. And Sean Payton was just glowing. You can tell this is kind of his baby in this draft class. And they had mentioned, they talked about the trick plays because obviously RJ Harvey has a background of being a quarterback. Sean Payton shot that down. I don't buy it for 1 minute. I don't think anybody does. Do I think it's going to be something that happens very often? No, but it's pretty cool that he's somebody that's a quarterback. He talked about, he's still got the ability to spin it and throw it. And so that opens up the opportunity for a lot of trick plays and some fun moments. So looking forward to seeing that, but I cannot wait to see RJ Harvey, man, put the pads on and the helmet, in training camp against these guys and going obviously into the preseason. I really cannot wait to see how he looks. And as long as he changes that ugly number 37 that he's currently wearing, I think he's going to look good, man. I'm really, really excited. And obviously the run game and the improvement of the run game is going to be unbelievably important to the success of the Denver Broncos in 2025. And then moving on to Pat Bryant, man. Pat Bryant, by all accounts, he was kind of the second. He was the 1B winner of rookie minicamp. Everyone was saying he looked, smooth, fast, fluid, really good route runner. Obviously, he's a very mature route runner. We knew that coming out of Illinois, just based off of all the different routes that he had run in his time in college. And that's how Pat Bryant's always won. He's won because he's very polished. He's able to create separation and create leverage with different nuances in his route running scheme, which you love to see. That's why I didn't really care at all about the 4.61 that he ran. I was more impressed with the tape, the fact that he has extremely good hands. He's very sure-handed. They said he caught everything. That matches the tape that you had seen at Illinois when he dropped 1.2% of the passes that came his way. He had just one drop in 2024. So very sure-handed, very good contested catch player, right? We knew that coming out of college. He caught a 50-50 ball on Jahdae Barron when there was really good coverage. So that's the kind of player that he is, right? Very Tim Patrick-esque, right? He's not going to blow you away with the speed and all that kind of stuff, but he's still able to create separation. And screw the 4.61. His 10-yard split was extremely impressive, was fast. That's always the most important. I've reiterated this a couple times. Troy Franklin was a 4.4 guy. His 10-yard split was slower than Pat Bryant's was. So Pat Bryant has got the ability to get open. He's got good size at 6'2", 205. A lot of the reports were saying that he looked well ahead of Devon Vele and Troy Franklin last year. Obviously, Troy Franklin took some time to develop, but Devon Bailey was kind of impressing. It started at rookie minicamp and it continued on through training camp. And they're all saying Pat Bryant looks better than both of them, right? So I get it. He's a 3rd-round pick. Franklin was a 4th-round pick. Bailey was a 7th-round pick. But at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't really matter where you're taken. It matters how you look when you show up. And I loved Pat Bryant before the draft. I loved the draft pick of him. I think he's going to be a super impactful player, man. And yeah, I can't wait to see him play. He looks clean in that number 13. Obviously everybody talks about like the Michael Thomas comps and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's unfair, but I can understand the vision of like, slant God is what they used to call Michael Thomas. I think he's going to win on a lot of routes. Really can't wait to see him out there, running routes against Pat Surtain and Riley Moss and those guys and blocking in games as well to show what he can do. But he looked fast and fluid, looked a lot better than his 4.61 time showed. So that's always a really big positive. Going on to Savon Jones, they said he really showed a lot of flashes of dominance. His versatility is going to be the key to his development, right? He's going to be able to play all across the defensive line. Also can give you some edge pass rushing as well. And based off of his interview with the media, man, this dude has a phenomenal voice for radio, but very calm, very mature. Just seemed like he's very grateful and humble, ready to work. And he seems like he's very well developed at the stage in terms of his ability to play. I really do think he's going to be a key part to the defensive line rotation. I think he's going to play a lot more than people think. And he's going to be putting the bottom of the roster guys on the defensive line, Ioma Uwuzurike, right? Jordan Jackson. He's going to put those guys on the roster bubble for sure. Really excited to see him play. Just seems like somebody that is going to add wonderful depth and eventually can be a key starter, a key contributor for this team in a couple of seasons. But I think he's going to play quite a bit as a rookie. We're not going to go through individually with the rest of the guys because there wasn't so much that came out from the round 3 guys. But, Q Robinson, obviously he's still a little injured. He had a huge brace on his arm. But some quick notes is that he had some batted balls with the bad arm. He's really showed some freakish athleticism and some pop, some ability to, some crazy good pass rush upside. But like I said, I think the vision for him in year 1 is to develop as much as he can as a defensive edge player, but he's going to be a 4-phase special teamer, someone that is contributing to the team right off of the bat in special teams. Doesn't always make the fan base all super excited, but it's important to note because, that's going to be super important. And obviously he's going to be somebody that I think makes this team. And I can't wait to see him help elevate this special teams unit even further. So keep an eye on Q Robinson, man. When I watched him in college, he didn't play a whole lot. And then in the year that he was finally a full-time starter, it was unfortunately cut by injury. But my God, the flashes, like the highs are unbelievably high. So it's going to be really fun. Crawshaw, he didn't really punt a lot. I guess they just had jugs. They didn't really have him punting based on the reports from rookie minicamp. But he already won the punter battle because they brought him in and they cut Matt Hawk right away. So he's the only punter right now. He's not going to have a lot of competition. It's going to be fun to see him. There's going to be quite a bit of pressure on Jeremy Crawshaw. No doubt about that. Because when you're a punter who was drafted, even if it was in the 6th round, expectations are going to be high. So I'm optimistic. He's awesome, man. And I love that Australian accent. I think it's so cool to have an Aussie, but he just seems really grateful for this opportunity. We know he's got a booming leg. So when he starts to really work with Rizzy, I think good things are going to happen for him. And the surprise for me, man, big time, was Caleb Lohner. First of all, he looked like he put some good size on. He looks like a very well-built athlete, someone that looks like he's been playing football for a lot longer than he has. And according to Andrew Mason, he was ragdolling some guys as a blocker, like just straight ragdolling them. They said he's showing impressive strength, just genuinely a freakish athlete, like somebody that is fast, savvy, catching everything. And so for being as raw as he is, playing like 58 snaps or 53 snaps or whatever it was in college, he looked like not only did he belong, but he was dominant at times, is what a lot of people were saying. So that's really cool to see, man. And I think, I mean, listen, I'm excited to watch all these guys. Let's not sugarcoat it. I love it. I love looking at the rookies, man, to just get a good idea of what the next generation of Bronco players looks like. But really, really excited to see Caleb Lohner, just because of, his basketball background, the fact that he's so unbelievably raw, the fact that he literally learned how to put on football pants 8 months ago. It's crazy to me. But he tested super well at the pro day. He's looked very, very good so far. And obviously we know Sean Payton is going to love this guy. This is kind of his project that he's super excited about. And maybe, just maybe, he can have a much bigger impact on this team in year one than I anticipate. But I don't think he's going to be a practice squad guy, because I don't think they're going to be able to get him through the practice squad. And you don't want to risk that. Maybe he wants to go somewhere else where he feels like there's a better opportunity. I think very similarly to what they did with Frank Crum, at worst case, they're going to kind of redshirt him, but keep him on the 53 and have him develop as much as he can. And he might find himself active on game days here and there, especially later on in the season. But it's going to be really fun to see him, with the rest of the vets, and especially in preseason. I expect for Caleb Lohner to play quite a bit in the preseason to get as many reps for him as possible. I think that they should do that at least. So that's a little bit of notes on the I put round 3 guys because I'm stupid, but it was day 3. So the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round guys that we have on the team. And then I wanted to add a little bit of love for the UDFAs and some honorable mentions, right? Just some guys that you see based off of a lot of local media reports that consistently get brought up. Courtney Jackson, the wide receiver, he seems to have made a lot of plays. He's about a 6'5", so very, very big dude. Apparently he was at the HBCU pro day and he was blowing the testing out of the water, ran a 4.4, had like a 42-inch vert. And, he popped out and made some plays. Same with Joaquin Davis. They talked about his freakish athleticism, someone that is a very, you can see a lot of the traits there with him. Someone that was really intriguing for me personally, just based off of some of the reports that I had seen, was Jerwan Newton. He's a smaller, very, very quick, very fast guy. But they said that he's got a lot of slot receiver traits. And I like that, because that is one area in this wide receiver room that I think we could use a little bit more depth. So to me, that gives him probably the best chance, just based off of the initial reports, of making the 53 potentially, because he can be that slot receiver, because he can play on special teams. And he's a very, very fast and quick player. But I look at these UDFAs as all guys that will most likely be on the practice squad, but can also fill in the back end of the roster for you, right? And this is where it really pops out to me, is like, over the course of the past couple of years with the Broncos, we had a lot of holes on the roster, which I don't think we have any holes now, but we definitely had some pretty serious depth concerns all across the roster. I don't think we're going to have a lot of that anymore. And that's a kudos to Sean Payton and George Payton, just for doing a really good job of hitting on their UDFAs, hitting on some of the mid to late round draft picks, and really filling it out. And by bringing a lot of these guys in, it looks like we're going to be filling out a lot of that. I mean, the depth and the competition at wide receiver is going to be real. Like, there's going to be some wide receivers that are very good that are not going to make the 53 or are going to at least show a lot of potential. So I'm really excited about them. And then Travis Tice, man, I know people say it's Thies. I was looking at some of the highlights and a lot of different videos. I guess it's pronounced Travis Tice, but Cecil Lammy had talked about, he's someone that looked better than the other pro workout guys, right? So he's obviously not a UDFA. He was brought in as a workout, but we brought in Chris Evans. We brought in, I think it was Jack Coletto, who's a fullback. 2 guys that have been in the league for a few years, kind of bounced around from team to team. And so they have some experience. And according to him and a few others, he looked better than those guys. He's an intriguing player, Travis Tice. I'm interested to see if we end up ultimately keeping him around as a UDFA so he can come in for, the mini camps and training camp. But we will see in the coming days if anything comes from that. But I just wanted to show some love for Travis Tice, because apparently he he showed a little bit of flashes, and we could use more bodies and more versatility in the running back room, and he definitely brings that. So I was a big fan of that. Curious your guys' thoughts, man, if there's anything else that you saw. Who are you really excited to see in training camp? Obviously, like I said, I'm pumped up for all these guys, but I'm really, really intrigued. And I just can't wait to see Pat Bryant when he's going up against all the starters. How does he look? Does he show some flashes against those guys? And I'm really excited to see Caleb Lohner as well, man. Those are kind of the two guys that I'm pumped to see. And I think you can get a lot out of those guys in training camp. RJ Harvey is going to be somebody that you're really going to see the kind of player that he's going to be in game action, like once the preseason starts. And obviously Jahdae Barron as well. But I'm not overly concerned about Jahdae Barron. I'm just really confident that he's going to be such a good player. But man, it's going to be fun. But let me know you guys' thoughts below in the comments. And hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, man. Go Broncos. And as usual, peace.